How can you idealize them when you know what they did after the death of the Prophet? Who is this? Who are we talking about? Oh, we're talking about the companions. You see, look, let me tell you something. यार चलो यार खुल के बात करते हैं यार دعنا نتحدث بكل انبساط. Right, let's just chill out and you see the situation is like this, right? That there are some things which are good for people, okay, at a certain way, a certain understanding. There isn't, I don't know, like there isn't much you get by, like, people have a need for certain things, okay, like certain narratives, certain understandings. The companions of the Prophet, right, radiallahu anhum, do I believe that they were perfect human beings? I don't believe that they were superhumans, if that's what you're asking me. But I feel that there is a need for people who are Muslims, who believe in Islam, to have, there is a need that they have to venerate these figures. And, you know, whether people agree with that or not, but they can understand the need. Like, you can understand that, right, there is going to be this need. Like, these will become the kind of the figures within Islamic history. Now, whether some of them ever did something which was questionable, or somebody did something that was bad even, let's say, does that have to be constantly brought up? And, like, I don't see what they will gain by this. Because the question of, no, but we're just being critical isn't really true. Because if we're going to be honest, this, you know, the Shia, let's say the Shia way of looking at things, and I'm very, you know, reasonably very respectful. I've got a lot of good Shia friends. I, you know, regularly will speak to some of them, back and forth some messages on WhatsApp, and I've always called for respect and building bridges with all, you know, different sects and different groups. But the Shia faith, in my understanding, it doesn't have like an end game, because it's not really, like, what I mean by that, let me justify that. You see, it's just speaking about the past. It's like crying over spilt milk. Like, we can cry and cry and cry, but then what? Like, what do you want people to do? Like, whatever. Like, if I say, you know, oh, let's say such and such person, great person, but let's just say, like, if I said, as an example, like, they were much greater people than Imam Malik, but let's just say I say Imam Malik, you say, yeah. And I'll say, oh, you know, the wali at the time broke his arm. I say, God damn. Now I'm just going to sit every time and I'm just going to talk about this forever, incessantly. Like, there's no end game to this. Like, what's going to happen? Like, I can't now save Imam Malik's arm from being broken. And, like, I don't see the purpose, even if I, let's say I popularize this person as a negative person, this wali of the Abbasids who broke Imam Malik's arm. There's no end game to that. Like, nothing actually happens. So I would say that you see, I don't see any, but I do understand that there is a need that people have to venerate, you know, the companions, and fine, that works, you know. So it does. And if we're going to be honest, now I know this will offend people, but I'm just being honest here. If you can criticize, you know, if you can find, let's say, errors or mistakes with one companion, you can find them with another, because they were all human beings. None of them were, you know, supreme or sublime. And just as, let's say, Abu Bakr, let's say he made a mistake, let's say Umar made a mistake or got something wrong, Ali got things wrong. You know, like, Ali wasn't somebody that came from heaven. He wasn't somebody that... You see, now, this is the inconsistency that I find with the Shia kind of perspective, that they are very critical of many companions, except Ali. Anything Sayyidina Ali did was always perfect. Why? Why does everything Sayyidina Ali have to do has to be perfect? Why? I mean, I'm just being honest. Even Imam Malik, when he was asked, he said no about Sayyidina Ali, even though about the others he said fine. Imam Malik being controversial. They asked Imam Malik, do you think Sayyidina Ali is like the best of people and so on? And he said, no, Abu Bakr, Umar, whatever. And then they said, do you think Sayyidina Ali? And he said that the person who wanted to rule is not like the one who didn't want to rule. Now, this isn't to kind of criticize Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anh. Obviously, Sayyidina Ali is one of the most amazing people in Islamic history. But my point is that, you see, that swings both ways. Like, if we open the gate to criticizing companions, then we've got to criticize Sayyidina Ali as well. He doesn't get a free pass, whilst others don't get a pass. Either they all get a free pass, either there's consistency in one way or the other. Like, either we're going to go full out, all guns blazing on everyone. Because if we're going to criticize the wives of the Prophet, the best friends of the Prophet, everybody, then we're going to criticize members of his family as well. Are the wives not his family? They're his family as well. So I would say that, you see, this is the problem, because I would consider his wives his family as well, his Ahl. And in fact, Imam Malik said they were his Ahl, and Imam Malik said that in fact all of the Muslims are his Ahl. So you see, this is the inconsistency that I find. Now, I don't really like the whole debate thing. I don't like the sectarianism, but I'm just saying that here, that this is the issue. This is why I would just say that, look, people have a need to praise, like, let's say, to idolize, let's say, people of the past, religious figures. So they are going to idolize the companions of the Prophet and his wives, or whoever is around him, basically. Tika, la ba's bihi. That's, in fact, they need that narrative. Let them have it. Like, I don't think, if we get super academic with them, super critical with them, all it will do is just ruin everything for them, because that's not how it works. On this point, I'm going to say a point, actually. Somebody asked me about this recently. Maybe it ties in. There's a question here about, are statues of Buddha or Jesus allowed in Islam? Okay, I'll come back to that question, Hound. Hound is his name. Right, so look, somebody asked me a question recently, and I thought, well, I was speaking to, and at the same time, whilst I was asked this question, in those days I was also speaking to another friend about this issue. So I thought, look, I'll answer this live on one of my lives, and it seems relevant.